Well, before we even start, let's just pray.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Father God, thank you so much that you have given us opportunities of wisdom, opportunities of guidance, Father God. I pray right now that you just open our hearts, open our mind, that we may receive it in your blessing, Father God. And thank you for this knowledge that's about to come to us. And thank you for Gerrit, and bless him as he's about to. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, guys, we have Gerrit who's going to be talking to us, okay? Gerrit van Niekerk is one of the leaders in our church, and lots of you guys know that. But what you might not know is he's also the financial director of Isipani. He is a family man. Hey, Jessica. Sorry, Jess. I'm just going to mute you. There we go. Gerrit is financial director of Isipani. He is a family guy. He's married to one woman, his beautiful, beautiful wife. He has 3 kids, 2 handsome sons and 1 beautiful daughter. And he is, sorry, I'm admitting people to join while I'm talking, but he's going to be sharing with us this morning. So Gerrit, I'm giving it all to you.
Okay. Yeah, welcome everybody. Like the topic, financial storms, of going through the storms. Obviously, this is a storm that the world has not seen for many generations. And it's more than just a health storm. It's a financial storm. It's a emotional storm. But from a finance side, unfortunately, a lot of people will be impacted. I believe all of us will be impacted more or less in some way. Some might lose their jobs, some might get a reduced salary, some might get no salary during this period. But I want you to remember this. This is just a chapter. It's not the whole story. It's just a chapter, and like the title of today is Financing Through the Storm. We're going to get through the storm, and we're going to look back and stand amazed of what we learned of the experiences during this storm. But in this chapter, you will have to make good decisions, wise decisions, because the decisions that you're taking now are going to impact your financial future. So I would encourage you, don't rush into bad financial decisions. Be wise, and if you need to ask for help, ask for help. Ask for guys that can help you with that. But this is for me very, very important. But I also want you to know that this is an opportunity. See it as an opportunity to make changes to your life, so that in the long run, positive changes that you can keep in the future as well. So what do you do? What do you do if your budget is not balancing anymore? And I believe, it's, for a lot of people, that's reality now. Expenses more than income. What is the first thing you do? And I don't want to hammer on this today, because you hear it Sunday after Sunday from me and Bainan. But the most important is keep honoring God with your tithes. Even if you receive less of your income, keep honor God with the less of your income as well. 10% of the lesser still belongs to God. And God is the one who's going to take you through this. Don't cut off. God is your source. Don't cut off the source in this time. This is, for me, very important. We might be tempted to say, God, I want a tithe holiday now. This is a bit difficult now. But listen, God said that He will open the floodgates of heaven. He will rebuke the devourer. And I believe it with all my heart. This is just a season. This is a sowing season. And we will reap later. I believe with all my heart. So the most important is keep honoring God. Think of Isaac in Genesis 26. It says there was a famine in the land. There's a famine in the land now. But Isaac sowed and he reaped 100-fold. So the first thing is honor God to your tithes. Then the second thing is I believe it's time for a survival budget. And for me, what is very important is you need to know exactly what your current position is. For me, it is very, very important. It is nowadays easy to spend money. I mean, we just swipe a card or Zapper or whatever, SnapScan. It's so easy, and it can feel unreal. But listen, a good dose of financial discipline will spare you future headaches. And I want you to take stock of your financial position. You need to know your current position. If you want to make decisions on where you want to be, you need to know what your current position is. It's like driving to point B. You need to know where you start. So for me, that is very, very important. And don't make it too complicated. Some people say, oh, no, the budget thing is not for me. This don't have to be that complicated. Just make a summary of your expenses. Take your bank statements for the past few months, maybe 3 months, maybe a bit more because the past month or two is not a good indication. But make a summary of expenses, write it down or export it to Excel and summarize. Start with your fixed expenses. What is your fixed expenses? Those things that you can't change easily. Start with your tithe and your rent and your or your bond, medical aid, your insurance, security. Those is fixed expenses, not easy to change that. Then your variable expenses. What is variable? It's your entertainment, food, clothing, what else? Cell phone. Those things that change from month to month. Make a summary of it. And don't sabotage your own efforts by underestimating your costs. Dit skiet jou net self in die voet. Sorry, but sorry for Afrikaans, but it's, yeah. Don't underestimate it. Then also your irregular expenses. Make provision for those repairs to your car or to the home. I know it's a bit more difficult, but go for a longer period of time and see what is the average. Then you add up all your expenses. And if your expenses is more than your income, then you need to do something. Then you have to do something. You have to cut somewhere. And where do you cut? But I think before we get to that, I think what is more important is to discuss what not to cut. So what is the expenses that I would say you don't touch? Number one, obviously, is, like I said, is your tithes. But medical aid, and it's not just now because of the coronavirus. In general, don't touch your medical aid. Don't touch your insurance. If you have dependents, your life insurance. Listen, we need to cover our risk. As die poor die fan strike, we need to cover our risk. And I'm not talking about the bells and whistles. I mean, if you have a medical aid and you have vitality or something like that, that is not that important. But the risk part is extremely important. If you land in a hospital or wherever, you need to cover your risk. For me, that is very important. So the next point is where do I cut? Take your expenses and write it down. Write it down in order of importance. Start with the least important to the most important. And go through the list and be honest with yourself. Go through the list and decide what can I cut and what can't I cut. It's now lockdown and we talk about essential services. But you need to place your finances in lockdown as well. You need to decide what is essential expenses. And you need to place the rest of the expenses in lockdown. It's unfortunate. And it depends on what stage of financial lockdown. If it's level 5, then obviously you need to cut a bit more and place a bit more restrictions. But you need to decide for yourself where can I cut and not. And you need to be honest with yourself. And we need to cut out the luxuries now. It's as simple as that. Most of us can survive with less. I believe it with all my heart. In my experience with our company, we've got obviously a lot of employees. I'm responsible for the salaries as well. And what I noticed through the years is that doesn't matter how much, for most people, doesn't matter how much they earn. It can be person A can earn double what person B earns. But at the end of the month, most of them got nothing left. So people adjust their lifestyles to their salary. And now is the time to do a reverse achteruit, to do a backwards adjustment to your lifestyle. And see it as an opportunity as well, because times will change again. But don't, in the future, don't adjust your lifestyle to your salary again. For me, it is very important. Ask yourself, do I really need the fastest internet? Do I really need, I don't want to say the name, say satellite TV, or whatever. Immediately stop all the nice to have. Even debit orders on your bank statement for nice to have stuff. Stop it. And speaking of debit orders, I'm sure some of you have got some debit orders going off that you have no idea for what it is. I'm sure about that. So go through that and stop that as well. Ask yourself, where can I save money? Maybe you can consider a cheaper bank account or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you need to take more drastic steps. It depends on your situation. If you don't have income, then it will be difficult to pay rent. So maybe you need to move in with friends or with family. And yes, we don't want to do it. But if that is what you need to do, then you need to do it. I believe families need to stick together now, and we need to watch out for others. It's like wartime. It's like we need to fight for our families now, and we need to help each other. Amen. It's very difficult. I don't hear any sound. Anyway.
Amen.
Thumbs up.
Amen. So there we go.
Yeah. Maybe swallow your pride and go and speak to your landlord. Ask for a discount and say, listen, it's difficult for me now. I can't afford it now. Negotiate with your creditors and negotiate with your bank. Negotiate with the people you're owing money. Because it might help you. If you negotiate, it might help you or might prevent the judgment against you or a blacklisting. For me, this is very important. Because I don't know if you know it, but some companies check your credit record before they appoint you. So it's important to keep a clean credit record. So rather speak to your creditors and try to prevent a blacklisting or something like that. Because, it can make it difficult for you in the future. Ask for a payment holiday. I know some of the banks offer it to their clients. Even on insurance and stuff like that as well. There might be payment holidays. Ask for it. But I want to encourage you, if you can afford still repaying your loans, keep on doing that. Because in the long run, it's feel much better to repay your debt as soon as possible. So if you can do it, don't give me opportunity not to do it. No, it's for your own good. It's better to repay it as soon as possible. If you have to, you might consider take a holiday on retirement annuity or something like that, or saving. When you do every month of saving, maybe you can do that for a month or two or whatever. If maybe pension as well, if it's allowed by the rules, I don't know. But you can consider it. But speaking of pension, and this is one thing for me that is very, very important. If you lose your job, resist the temptation to cash out your pension. Because in South Africa, if you change jobs or you lose your job, you have an option to cash out your pension. And you pay tax on it. But this might be the most damaging financial decision that you can make. It might seem to be a lifesaver for you, like winning the lotto. But remember why you saved in the first place. It's for retirement one day. So by cashing it out now, you're robbing yourself at age 60 or 65. It's as simple as that. So prevent it, and remember, you're going to pay tax on it. If you lose your job or change your job, and unfortunately, I heard a statistic that 80% of South Africans went into the pension fund by age of 40, between age of 40 and 50 when they changed jobs. And that is a very bad statistic. So I want to encourage you, if you change jobs or you lose your job, put it in a preservation fund or something like that, because compound interest is your friend when you're saving money, but it's your enemy when you're paying debt. Compound interest can work for you, and I'm not going into detail of compound interest today, but it's interest on interest, and it can work for you or it can work against you. Make it work for you by keeping your money in your investments and your savings and your pension fund and wherever. And if you lose your job, just check if you don't have credit insurance. Some of you might have it without knowing it. Check if you have credit insurance, and that is insurance that will repay your premium for a period of time if you lose your job, unemployed or unable to pay for whatever reason. Previously, especially if it's quite new debt, if you took out the debt in the past 3 years from 2017 onwards, because there was a change in legislation. Before it was only for what do you call it, for death and for disability. But nowadays it might, on your debt product, there might be a credit insurance that if you lose your job, you can access that. So just check that. Then the next thing is negotiate with your employer. I would say earning half or 50% of your salary is better than no salary. And some people are saying, well, I'm not working for this, and I'm not working. Okay, so what are you going to live on now? So rather work for less and keep your job than not work. And don't leave your job now without having a new job. For me, that is very dangerous. So keep your job and rather work for less. And some of you might blame your employers and say, but yes, I mean, they cut our salary and not paying our salary during the lockdown. But remember, it's difficult for them as well. Remember, they try to survive as well. And you need to be willing to take on new responsibilities in your job. Go the extra mile now for your employer as well. While you sit it down, I'm not sure if some of you are working or not now, but think of new ideas, think of new ways how you can save money, how you can be more cost effective and more efficient. Be that employee that the employer don't want to lose. Add value to your company. Don't just complain about your current circumstances. Listen, this is for all of us stuff. But be the positive guy. And listen, the employer will rather in surrounding with positive people than negative people. We have a saying in our company, MITT, managing in tough times. And we started up that up again. And we had the whole thing of managing in tough times. What are we going to do different? But in your own life, it's now MITT. You need to manage your personal life now, managing in tough times. Listen, be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Oh, please. And then the last point, and then you can ask questions as well, and I'll try to answer. But upskill yourself. For me, that is very important. Don't waste your time in lockdown. There are a lot of online resources, and listen, I taught myself a new computer program in the past few weeks, and we already implemented it at our work, at our company. Listen, you need to sell your skills. And that's the way you're earning a salary. And the employer will be willing to pay more for you if you have extra skills. I believe it. So I want to encourage you to add skills. Be fruitful. And I believe you will be rewarded for that. But like I said, this shall pass. Remember, this too shall pass. And we're going through this storm. And this experience will help you in the future. I believe it with all my heart. It might be hard lessons for you now, but you will learn good lessons now. And it will in your finances as well. In toekomst and in the future, apply that what you learn now. Your salary is not a target. Try to save more. And I don't want to mention it because you will learn how important the emergency fund is. What is an emergency fund? It's just a buffer, like a shock absorber. Give you a soft landing. Extra savings. How much? I don't know. Maybe 3 months. I normally say 3 months. But give you to have a buffer. If the pauper hits the fan, at least you have something. So in the future, try to build up something like an emergency fund for yourself. So that will help you. Save for the rainy day. In Proverbs 22:7 says, a borrower is a servant to the lender. Try to stay away from debt in the future as far as possible. I know it's sometimes very difficult, and I'm not 100%. I'm not totally against debt. I believe if you buy something that is increasing in value, then debt is fine. But if you're buying something that is decreasing in value, then debt is not fine. So if you buy a house, I don't believe any of us will be able to buy a house without debt. But at least it will increase in value. So for me, that is fine. But obviously, try to put to save as well, to put a deposit down. It's important. But try to stay away from debt. I set myself a goal to be debt-free. A few years ago, I want to be debt-free in 3 years' time. And I made it just in 3. For me, that was a goal. So I want you to set a goal for yourself as well. Yes, I want to be debt-free and whenever, and work towards it. I mean, but you need to do something. And like I said, don't rush into making bad decisions. Ask for help. If you don't know what to do, speak to people. There are people who are will be more than willing to help you. And what's the last thing I want to say is, I think the most important thing now is in this time is live with open hands. Don't stop to give. There's a stuff for you, but it's stuff for everybody else. And there's some people that will need help. So I want to encourage you, look out for your friends, look out for and help where you can help. Like I said, I know it's difficult, but let's try our best and live with open hands. That's my story. Is there any questions? Kaylin?
Awesome. Well, right now we have 9 minutes left. So does anyone have a question that you can unmute yourself or wave your hand like crazy if you can't get that right? Amanda's. Okay, cool.
Hey, Gerrit, sorry, I just want to have a quick one. You spoke about debt now and avoiding debt. I'm in the curious position now where I do need to buy a new car at some stage because I'm fixing something on mine every month. But if you look at buying a car cash, you save up and you look at the amount of buying a car cash, that almost comes to a deposit on an apartment. Is it better to buy the car cash outright and not have any debt on it and then take a loan on an apartment, or take financing on the vehicle and use that money for a deposit on the home loan?
What you should do is take a loan on your property and buy the vehicle. That's a no.
No, but at this stage, I'm paying rent. I don't own any property.
I'm just saying because maybe I should get to debt more. What is very important, never take out debt where the repayment terms is longer than the useful life of the item. So for instance, if you buy food, you don't buy food on credit because you ate the food and then you still have to pay the debt. You don't buy your car on your house bond. You bond because you bond, you pay out 20 years, but your useful life of a car is like 5 or how many years? 7 years.
Yeah.
I would say, obviously, it's difficult. It depends. I did a whole study on buying cars. So it's and for me it's better to buy a second-hand 3-year-old car and sell it in 4 years' time than buy a new car. And I know it can be a bit more difficult to get it financed, but the value that you lose on a car in the first 3 years is not the best decision for me. I think they did a study in the USA that they say that I think 50% of $10 million millionaires or something like that, I can't remember exactly the amount, don't buy new cars. They can afford it, but I know it's not the best. It's not the wisest thing to do. So yes, I bought 2 new cars in the past as well, but I learned from my experience it's not the best thing to do. I would rather keep it separate. If you have to finance your car, then finance your car, and your if you need to buy a property, rather keep it separate. I think I would say that's my advice, but it will depend on different circumstances. But I would say keep it separate and try to make your deposit on your car rather as big as possible and repay that as soon as possible and keep on with your bond. That is my advice, but it's difficult. Answer your question or not?
Yeah. I think that answers fine. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah. I have something. It's actually something I've experienced that I maybe just want you to also tell the group. What are your views on paying 26 Rand extra and having gap cover on your car insurance?
No, I only know about gap cover on medical insurance, and that is a good thing. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure what the gap cover is, what you're talking about now. I don't have experience of that, but like I said, you need to cover your risk, and if that is a risk for you, and if you need to know what gap cover in medical terms is additional hospital insurance, so you need to cover your risk for that. So if that is the same for your car, then 26 Rand is not much. Then
it's pretty much so what the retail value and what the dealership sold it to you for. So that extra like 40 grand or whatever that isn't covered by your car insurance that you then have to pay after a write-off.
Okay, so you had experience. Now, another thing about buying cars for me, what is very important, when you buy a car, don't take the balloon payment or the residue value, whatever you want to call it. After 4 years or 5 years, you need to sell the car to repay the balance, and that is you force yourself into a continuous debt cycle, and you can't get out of it. So for me, that is important, not to stay away as far as possible. Rather save a deposit, pay it up front, and repay it. And when you finish paying, then it's finished. Then it's your car. Then you can drive. I mean, I've got our one car. I bought it new in 2007, so it's now 13 years old, and we still drive with it. It is if I'm going to sell it now, I'll get nothing for it. But I can't. I mean, it's nothing wrong with the car for me. So I can drive it. My other car is 10 years old. Yes, it's a good car, but I didn't. The previous owner took a knock, not me, when he sold it. So that's rather pay the deposit up front.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have 3 minutes left. Does anyone have another question? I'm sure we could get another
Quick
question in.
Did it make sense?
Yes. I don't have a question, but I want to say that was absolutely fantastic. And I think what I wrote down I can use not just during lockdown, but long after, because we're taking certain measures now that we can also still take after lockdown, like having a buffer. And yeah, but for now, MITT.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to advertise it, but I know there's great budgeting apps available.
Ooh.
There's one 22/7. I'm not sure if you heard about that. I downloaded it. I'm not yet use it because I'm just nervous about security in general. So, but I read good reports about it. It's a South African. It's a mutual thing. It didn't start there, but 22/7. I think it came from the Proverbs 22/7. I think it comes from there, the name. But yeah, there's great tools that can help you nowadays. If you want to, I can send you just a simple Excel budget as well if you want that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but it's simple. It's something that somebody gave me once, so it's not rocket science, but yeah.
Okay, well, guys, we're going to be ending the Zoom.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Gerrit.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
giving your time
Yeah.
and blessing us.